I'm trying to see if we're up because I can't really tell. Oh, yeah, we are. We're up. Okay. All right. So we are we are online talking with. Wait a minute. Where y'all go?
We're missing somebody.
I know. Oh, that I see it now. I didn't have her up. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So we are talking live with folks in the community about what is going on in Washington, D.C. Just wanting to hear from the people to see what you guys think about what is going on right now. We have, let me see if I've got, I think I've got your names on there. All right, so we've got Jones, former retired lieutenant colonel from the Army. We've got another semi-millennial. And we also have another professional in the community that is going to speak. They can introduce themselves, but what do you guys think about what's going on right now?
I'll go first. I think that it is alarming. It's like I think the president needs to step in and set the tone, because if we don't set the tone with this, then this kind of stuff will continue. And at the same time, I'm very annoyed and hurt because had the people that been rushing the Capitol had a different skin tone or been a different organization, I feel like the scenery would be very different. It would be much worse. And I just feel like that someone needs to step in and set the tone, and people need to be arrested. I'm waiting to see like rubber bullets flying. I'm waiting for some kind of order to be set because this is out of control.
Somebody asked, where did Fee go? So people already know you. So of course,
see, that's what I'm saying. People don't know me.
You can't hide. so Fee is back. She is here. So okay, Fee, how do you feel about what's going on right now? In the country.
When times like this, I try to be less emotional and more practical, right? And so while I'm just kind of piggybacking off of what has been said already, which is it is unacceptable, right? I've never seen something like this in our democracy. This is not how a democracy acts. It starts at the highest level. I think there's got to be some accountability that takes place. Again, like we said, if we were different skin tones, and if it was people that look like us on this screen who were rushing the Capitol, we would be, there'd be full armor, there would be a National Guard brought in, and if not military force. And so that same thing that needs to happen. And this could have been preventable. It needs to be, and it needs to stop now before more people get hurt and somebody loses their lives, which I've heard that somebody lost their life. Is that correct?
Someone was shot.
Okay.
Was shot, but I think she's been taken to the hospital. That's what I've heard.
Right. I mean, did we ever? Is this coming? I mean, I'm shocked but not surprised. I think that's the biggest thing about this. I'm shocked but not surprised.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dee.
I was gonna say that's the more so the culture we've been dealing with for the past 4 years. I know we were saying it got to be leadership. I spent 20 years in it come from the top. The president got to set the tone. Expect anything to change it. He haven't set the tone for the past 4 years. So why now? Yeah, it's surprising, but it's not shocking.
Yeah, it's I saw that he spoke earlier, and of course, true to his rhetoric, he on one hand he called for them to go home. The other hand, he said the election is a fake, and we won. So I mean, what do you? I know Dee and I both served in the military, and so for us, we believe in law and order. That's first and foremost. I mean, and so for us, I know just like her, being stationed and having to serve in a foreign country, one of the things that you know, that whenever you see the United States flag, I mean, it really does do something to you. So, you know, as an American, when you're in another country and you see the flag, you know you're good, right? And so to see people, you know, really desecrating the Capitol building, you know, standing on the outside, you know, going through the chamber. You know, I see people carrying objects out through the hall. I mean, I've been to the Capitol, and I'm sure you guys have as well. And that is a sacred place, right? That is a sacred place, and there are guards everywhere. And so that's the piece that I guess I'm having a hard time trying to understand is where the hell are the people that are supposed to be protecting and defending, you know, the Capitol.
I mean, you shouldn't be able to get within a certain, I mean, after 9/11, you should not be able to get within like several hundred feet of the Capitol. And everybody, we all, like I said, who've been in DC, they've got snipers on all these buildings. So I don't understand, like you said, where are these people coming from? Because like I said, I lived in the DC area. I've worked in that, you know, worked up that way. So I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's, you know, I took my kids there, I think it was in 2015. I think it was 15, right before this current administration came in, and you know, and I have a picture of my son. He was probably 9 at the time. You know, he was walking up toward the Capitol, and there were guys standing on the steps with long guns, with actual automatic rifles. You know, and so where are the people that are supposed to be protecting our community? I don't understand. Rebecca?
I mean, I was going to be sarcastic and say maybe they're inside packing up Trump's stuff so he can get out. But that was my first thing when I saw all the text and the alerts coming through. The first thing was, don't we have snipers outside the Capitol? Like, where did they go?
Yeah. You know, I think that's one of the biggest issues that I have right now is the lack of law and order. And, you know, I heard them say, well, now we've got a 6 p.m. curfew. So anybody that's on the Capitol grounds after 6 p.m. will be arrested. What? So you mean to tell me all those people who have trespassed on the Capitol grounds are not going to be, you know, there's no consequences?
Guess not.
I mean, going back to what Dee said earlier, that he hasn't set the tone. The president has set the tone, and it's that he doesn't abide by law and order. It's as if he doesn't have to. He can do whatever he wants, and so his followers just kind of follow his lead because rules don't apply to them, clearly.
Absolutely. You know, it looks like you know, it's the sun's going down in DC, and I know Dakeela, you said you heard the mayor. What did she say?
I think when I was listening to it earlier, they was just talking about all the you know, the plans they have with law enforcement to try to get after it, you know, restoring law and order, if you will, and how ahead of time she had, you know, coordinated with you know, people from Maryland, Maryland and Virginia to, you know, assist if in need be if something do happen. And she did that ahead of time, and just so happened that she had to call on them now. And it was just a press conference with the chief of police for, I think it was DC Metro Police, and then she had the Secretary of the Army there, McCarthy. So I didn't get a chance to hear what he had to say, but she just pretty much talked about how all the different agencies and police and you know, stuff they're gonna have on the ground to try to gain back order again.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, like Fee said earlier, I mean, you know, it's shocking, but it's not surprising, right? And why do you think that, Fee?
Like I said, we saw this coming. This is just a symptom of what's going on, right, in our country. This is just it's kind of like boiling the frog, right? We just boiling the frog. We knew that this was coming at some point. People, when kind of like when Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. They've already done this. I mean, we saw an example of it in Michigan when, you know, the plot to kill and to kill or and detain, you know, an elected official and her cabinet in the state of Michigan. So we've seen this. We've seen it. Those of us who live here in Texas, right? We've seen it in Georgetown, Houston, Dallas, where people have been protesting and loading up their arms and saying that they were going to do this. There are people, we've seen this. And so I'm not, like I said, shocked that people would actually act out this behavior, and then, but like not surprised at all.
Yeah. I saw Tony Rose is one of our state representatives. I think she's out of Dallas, and she said it appears that they are at the Capitol, the Texas Capitol, and she said that there are people who, I guess, they've gotten alerts that some of the protesters are coming to the Capitol here.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically, she said, you know, they're safe, they're locked down, you know, so they're pretty good. But it just shows you that, you know, freedom.
You can't stop crazy. Yeah, you can't stop crazy, but you can slow it down.
Right.
Right. That's what's really going on.
Yeah, I mean,
so do you think they're going to march in our capital too? Somebody asked that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I know what that means.
You just what you talked about, Anita, that they're going to be in the Austin state capitol. And if you, probably so.
Yeah. They said they were, you know, I mean, but again, I mean, this is something that Trump has been, you know, he's been telling them, you know, this is it. This is our last stand, right? Because, you know, they tried it with you know, with the states, trying to, you know, get the state, you know, the secretaries of state to null the elections, null the, you know, the vote there. He couldn't do that. And so this was their last stand. This is a date that the Electoral College, you know, basically all they're doing is taking, you know, the votes, you know, the votes from the people. You know, the Electoral College, you know, speaks for the people, and those votes have been sealed and secured in the envelopes, and all they have to do is announce them. It's just a formality. And he, of course, has been talking to Pence, Pence was going to be able to do something. You know, which one? I think one of you, Rebecca or Tequila, one of you guys told me something about that he had said something to Pence and was asking Pence to do something on his behalf today.
But Pence has no power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But when I saw Ted Cruz jumping on the bandwagon and
that's for political gain. That's positioning for, you know, 2024.
Exactly.
Posturing. That's posturing. Yeah.
And it's sad, really. It's really sad because, I mean, you know, when you think about, you know, the Constitution, and, you know, it's like it depends on who's in power, right? And that's not why a Constitution is written. It's written so that you can go by that. Those are the rules of the land. You know, that is the rule of the land. So it's amazing how, you know, they try to interpret, because I know one of the things, I mean, I was surprised to hear Mitch McConnell today say, you know, that this was unprecedented in his 36 years, which, you know, I'm totally not a Mitch McConnell fan. I think he's, you know, his term is way too long. It lasted way too long, you know, but he also said that, you know, this shouldn't be happening. This should not happen right now in our country, you know, because the people have spoken. You know, that is where we are. The people have spoken, and it's just now, it's supposed to be a peaceful passing of power. And, you know, here we are.
And we're 14 days away from a 14 days away from a transit, you know, from a transition for a new. Right. But are you guys worried as military? So those, like T and Anita, are you guys worried as military people that because we're paying attention to this, the smoke over here, that there's fire from our enemies? I mean, are you all concerned about that as military, or what does the military do with regard to that?
Yeah, I'm like D. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, all the different units, they have their area of responsibility, and so they have the intelligence officers, and so they stay abreast of any, possible issues that may come up, and then and then they do assessment. If they think something's going to happen, then they alert the forces to pay attention to this threat.
Okay. So that's just the media talking. In other words, when the media is saying, "Hey, you need to be paying attention," it makes our country weak when we have these distractions and all that stuff.
I mean, and like Tequila, I mean, I worked on the general staff, and one of the things is, we get briefings every single day about threats. I mean, there are threats every single day to our democracy, to the states, to our country. There's always threats. So those things are there. But like she said, I mean, and I think when you serve, you already know the power that we have all over, not only the country, but all over the world. We're not concerned. I mean, just like when all of this happened today, there was no fear. It was more disdain and contempt, for the process. The lack of respect. And so to me, it was more anger and, getting upset that people, believe that they have the right, to do this, because it's privilege. I think somebody mentioned this earlier. This is about privilege. This is first and foremost. I mean, the fact that, we sit here for the last 2-3 hours talking about this crap, and, we just now are seeing police presence, in mass form, on the Capitol grounds. It shows you right then there that this is about, privilege. Because if you look at Black Lives Matter, because if they had the brothers up there jumping on the Capitol grounds, breaching security while Congress is in session, I mean, to me, that is the part that's even worse. I mean, that shows you the lack of respect, because Congress is in session. You got the vice president. I'm not a fan of them, but I do respect the fact that they are in power. Therefore, their lives matter at this point. And so, Pence is there, Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, all of these folks are there. Kamala Harris is there. She's there because she's a senator, and she was there to cast her vote for her state. So all of these people were there. And, the fact that, I mean, when they breached the first barrier, they were still in the House. They were still, I think the Senate was they were in their chambers, and the congressmen were in their chambers. And folks had breached the barriers that were already set up to keep them off the ground, and they were still going on. And so, to me, a lot of things have happened today that should not have happened. But I think it's only because of it's a Trump presidency. That's my thought.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, people are, I've had folks from all over the country that have, a friend of mine he's in Korea, and they're just kind of like, what the hell is going on over there? It's amazing. Yeah, these are some of the comments from some of the folks.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, people were, like I said, just surprised. But I mean, like I said, surprised, not shocked, or shocked but not surprised. Yeah.
And they talk about, I mean, it would be different if when you talk about a rigged election and you actually you said, okay, all the ballots on the state were rigged, but you can't say that my Republicans who won in the state, they're justified, and then only one thing is not. That's the issue that I think has no legal bearing.
Well, I think the thing is, none of these cases have had any legal bearing. I mean, it's been through the courts, it's been through the public domain where the people have voted, and we're not talking about something close. We'd call it a landslide, right? In other elections, and so.
Yeah, I mean,
no interference from Russia this time, allegedly. I mean, they tried to, Russia and China tried to intervene, but there was no evidence of that. So it's now, like you said, it's about privilege and giving up that power. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely unprecedented. Okay, then we got Chivas up here. All right, Chivas, keep it clean. Hey, Chivas.
What's up, Chivas?
Talk to us. Okay, your
audio's
audio back up. Audio, we can't hear you. Chivas, we know you loud, brother. So if you we know we'd hear you.
So like either the down ballot outcomes were compromised or there was nothing. Right.
Chivas. Can you hear me or can you hear I think we can hear you now.
You're a little choppy.
Go ahead, Chivas. I think we got a little delay, but go ahead. Chivas is a local activist here in Austin, and so, you know, he does a lot of work in East Austin.
I'm a fan.
I like to say, amidst of this distraction, it almost overshadowing the work that Georgia just did.
The historic.
Oh yeah. So what? I didn't even see the rest of it. Was it only one or both of them won? Both of them? Because I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chivas, can we hear? Try it now. Can you hear us? We can't hear you. Okay. All right. Trying again. Okay. Let's try this. All right. Go ahead, Chivas.
Yeah. So Georgia, yeah. Texas is purple, so yeah. Georgia did a heck of a job. Georgia led the way of
yeah. You know. Go ahead.
To Stacey.
Yeah. Yeah, Stacey Abrams, she did her thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your connection is good, Chivas. We still can't hear you. Exactly. Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead. We can't hear you, Chivas. It sounds like you in DC, man.
Right.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, better. Yeah, better. Go.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go. We got you now.
Could be. I might be. If you can hear me better, what I was saying was, okay. The Constitution is not applied to the Black community. So, because it doesn't, because the Black community has no benefit observing the Constitution, it's time for us to establish our own ways, our own policies, our own industry. Now that might be radical to the Muslims, that might be radical to some of you institutional brothers. But I'll say this. If the white man can, I put it like this. I first went to DC maybe 15 years ago. And even I walked down Pennsylvania and said, I can jump that gate. But, you know, the difference, I said, I have 1,000 Black men here. These white men know who these other white men are inside. These are folks that came been at country clubs with and applied for fellowships in different branches, enjoyed the white man's holidays and Christmas and all that. They know each other. So the fact that they could supervise what I know in the criminal code is criminal trespass. The black man and the black woman can say harm the Lord. The Constitution is not advantageous for us, not in ways that we need, not equity and justice. Outside of businesses, we can all compete with business our way, but our businesses don't survive if the platforms of the communities in which white supremacy is being upheld. I'd say we can't expect our businesses to survive. So something like the Constitution, whether it's the state or whether it be the federal Constitution, we take an hour to observe the advances of those governments and make the rest of the time would be all the difference created in our community because of the Constitution. So again, the white man jump in the White House, and I ain't doing no stuff for this meeting.
Yeah, I think it's still a little difficult to hear you.
Yeah.
I hear every other word.
I don't know.
But we do know that you're talking about white privilege. That there is a lot of white privilege going on. And, we've got a long way to go for sure to have an equitable country for African Americans and women. I mean, a lot of times it feels like, as Black women, we're on the bottom. There's because now diversity doesn't really mean what we think it means. Diversity means something different, to other people. So we know the rules are different for other people for sure, and they are for us.
Yeah, and expectation. I think that.
Yeah, it's going in and out, Chivis. We can't really hear. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
But Chivis is a passionate brother. I mean, I met him a few years ago. He's always out there in the community working hard, for the people, always, working to get Black businesses recognition.
Yeah.
So he's one of those ones. To me, he's one of the ones that actually, does what he says, and actually stands up for the people, because a lot of people who say that they're in the space, a lot of times, when it comes down to it, their values are totally different. So, so we definitely love and support Chivis for sure.
Maybe we get him some internet. Some internet when he gets. We're gonna give him some internet for the new year.
Yeah. I'm not sure why it's not. We're not able to hear.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Nita, I've got my next call coming up was Justice for Lawrence Parrish.
Well, I'm glad you joined us. I mean, it's important. A lot of this stuff is important. And it's, a lot of times, we don't have the opportunity to share our voice. And so I just kind of wanted to give people an opportunity to share, how they were feeling about what was going on.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you. And I want to just that we hold up in prayer and everything for the people in Georgia, because I think this is going to continue to go on. So we hedges of protection around those people in Georgia and Washington, D.C. area who still have to go to work and still have to work in that environment. So I want to thank you. And Anita, I want to thank you for giving us this platform and this voice here in Austin, Texas, because we got people, at our capital. So I want to thank you for all that you do for our community here in Austin. And like I said, it's just been an honor and a pleasure, getting able, like you said, just to voice this and have this discussion sometimes. like I said, shocking but not surprised, but not surprised. And but thank y'all so much.
No
So
worries.
you did-
No worries.
yeah.
We'll talk.
So in the meantime, keep building Wakanda, Travis. We'll see y'all. See y'all later. Bye bye.
No, you didn't say Wakanda.
Yeah, we building Wakanda.
We got
Building Wakanda forever. That's what we got to do. That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. Chivis, try it again, Chivis. Chivis, we yawn. Yeah, I don't think yeah, he's having some really bad internet issues. If we can't get him. I don't know. Somebody said justice for Lawrence Parrish. Who is that a person? I'm not sure who that was. But yeah. So what's the latest, Tequila? You watching the news? What's the latest?
I'm trying to. I know they showed they had a quick story on there about how they say the ballots from the mob that the work on the floor, they secured them, so they won't get destroyed.
So I asked the question, who is Lawrence Parrish, and someone said he was shot by Austin police. Do you know anything about that, Chivas? Chivas? And someone else, justice for Mike Ramos. I do know who Mike Ramos is. Mike Ramos was shot. I think he was.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, keep talking.
All right, I've changed networks and all that since I said I needed better internet.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah,
Oh, to ride to that part of the conversation, Lawrence Parrish was shot. I don't know. That's a crazy thing.
Say that again. Chivas? Hey, Chivas, I guess we lost you again. It says he was falsely shot and accused, then locked up. Is that what I guess Harris is? I've not. I don't know much about him. We definitely will. We try to do some reading on him, but I do know that Ramos was shot.
It's just a delay, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So Lawrence Parrish, who is alive to tell it, shot by APD enough times to kill him. Enough times to kill him. He's lived to tell it. Back in Austin after dealing with that. I remember Brian Manley lied about what had happened. He's lived to tell it. Back in Austin after dealing with that.
Chivas, can you log out and then log back in, because I think it's capturing a lot of the other noise. Because I got you a few times. Log out, come back. So it says we shot 12 times. I mean, it is justification for anybody to be shot 12 times. That's just yeah. So what else is going on, Tequila? What did you say? What's going on there? Tequila? I can't hear you.
Okay, I was muted.
Okay. What was, so tell me what's going on.
No, I was trying to watch the news. I just saw a quick blurb where they was talking about the electoral ballots or votes or certificates or whatever they are. How the staff saved those, secured those before the mob, entered the chamber, and they was like, they secured those because they sure they,
Oh yeah, they were
being destroyed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's that it's just it's amazing.
But you know what? I mean, in the midst of all this, even though I don't have the same views as most people, I said, well, let me try to get their perspective. So, like somebody go live, like a national network or ABC, NBC, or whatever, if they go live on Facebook. So I sit there and just tried to read the comments to see, because, we have 70 million people believe in this guy. And I'm like, okay, what am I missing?
Oh wow. So so my someone did say the lady who was shot has died. So I think Fee had mentioned that someone had passed away. So it looks like the lady that was shot now, I don't know, because how whenever a black person is shot by police, they always want to know, well, what were they breaking the law? Do they have any issues? So, but we don't do that, but but again, this person was in the Capitol, and for no good reason, that's for sure. It's some of the comments that I've seen on here, they're saying there's a lack of respect for our democracy and for those of us who believe in the law. This is all Donald Trump. I'm a fifth grade teacher in Selma, and today was certainly a teachable moment for my students. So it's I would definitely say it's an understatement. I mean, to me, this last 4 years has been an understatement. Has been a teaching moment, and I just don't understand how, in good conscience, some of these people, can really go home at night and tell their kids, to obey the law, to obey the rules, and then, they sit here and allow this person, in the White House, to do the things that he's done. Shivas, I'm going to try it again.
All right, y'all can hear me better.
I can. Oh my God, we got
you. Word. We got you. No, thank y'all. But no, you're absolutely right. It's just interesting to see. I don't think we should be careless with what we're seeing. It shouldn't be like, this is just another Wednesday, or that's just the white folks doing it. It's not just the white folks doing it. Dr. Francis Quest Welsing said it's a whole system of racism, white supremacy. That's just what it is. It's religion, it's politics, it's entertainment, it's sex, it's war, it's labor. They got us by the tail, really by the head and the tail, on all these things because it's their system. Why don't we create our own? We always talk Black excellence. We have great minds in a variety of things. Whether the brother was a patriarchal fool or the sister was crazy herself. Beautiful minds through our Black communities. Why don't we create our own system? You know what I'm saying? We put too much trust and faith into, well, that's what the Constitution said, or that's what that said. That's what that said. We don't really hold that standard with the Bible, perhaps, but with the white man system and his laws, we put so much stock and so much faith into it. So, this should be a strike and a match. A strike and a match to all Black women, all Black men. We should be healing together. We should be teaching our kids the right history. You know what I mean? But we shouldn't take so much pride in competing in white supremacy either. It should be a beautiful thing to be Black, a beautiful thing that Black, because if this was the federal government just locked up this brother that was over the not fucking around. The NFAC, the Not Fooling Around Coalition, and it's because he was thought to have carried a rifle. But you got white boys named James, Jeff, Tom, Dick, and Harry. They worked together to clear the fence today. So if anything, it's indicative. It's not surprising, it's indicative. If you don't think, and I say this to all the mothers in the Austin area, if you don't think that they'll do this in Austin at the Capitol, if you don't think a mob of white men will do this in our communities, whether it's in Weberville, whether it's in Westlake, whether it's in Cedar Park, whether it's in Springdale, the white man will do what he wants when his power is attacked. What will we do when ours is? You know? So.
Yeah, Tequila and I both served in the military. I will tell you that, I grew up in a small town in Alabama. And, didn't really have an opportunity to, didn't know how to go to college unless I knew the only way I could pay for college was by going into the military. And so, so I joined the military when I was 17.
Yeah.
And so, I spent the better part of 20 plus years, serving in the military. And, I will have to agree to disagree that I do believe in the Constitution, whether the good, bad, and the ugly, because, we all know that the Constitution is just a piece of paper.
For sure.
The people have to be the ones to enforce, what it says. And I think as a community of people, we are very loud. Black people, we're very loud about certain things. However, it would be, to me, it would be more beneficial for us to figure out ways to make the Constitution work for us, right? Because a lot of the stuff that's there, they always stand on the Second Amendment, and they take the Second Amendment and continue to drag it to say, we shouldn't have any type of laws against having weapons. I mean, I'm a gun owner, so nothing against. I am a gun owner, but I do believe that there should be laws to protect people, because in our country, people are shot almost every few minutes. In other countries, the laws are different because they don't, they have rules for assault rifles and things like that, and which have no business on the streets. So so I do believe in law and order, and I do believe that the laws should apply to everybody. We know that it does not, but I think that that's something that we have to do more of. Of demanding justice. We have to use our voice, and just like Georgia did. Georgians, they band together, and they, in a Republican state, they elected, two people, one a black man. So this can be done. We can do it. We just have to get together and try to work together to do it.
No, and I hear you. And with your experience and your history, I can respect that. I can respect your mind. But what I'm saying is, when we look into our past, when we try to identify who we are, where has the Constitution worked for us? Did it work in the 60s? Did it work in the 70s? Did it work in the 50s? No, the only time America has worked for Black folks is when we established ourselves, our own processes, our own ways, which in this day would be considered professionally parallel systems, just parallel systems. If we could nominate honest liaisons between commerce, we could have large industries, because the Black man might want to get back to work in a variety of ways. We could have Black women. It not be a surprise when a Black woman gets a job or she gets to be the first in this, because she's all over the place. It could be like that if we self-established, and that's hard to do when we depend on the pillars of America. If we touch back into history in the 1800s and that short time after 1865 when black folks independently acquired money, were honest in dealings, and bought land. Maybe we could get to those core intentions. But if we depend on the city of Austin to resolve rent for us,
Yeah.
we depend on the state of Texas to keep us safe. But we see the federal government handled so foolishly, so carelessly. It's one white man, one white supremacist after another. That's why even our black police officers, our black military officers, all have to take a seat at that table, and let's have a humble check of temperature. Like what's in it for black people? What will it take to make sure that black people are housed, black people are safe, black people are protected? And unfortunately, you know, my expertise, my activism, my advocacy will stop there and say only the Most High God can deliver that. But if we don't collectively come and repent for our sins and make good with the Most High's laws, it's really hard to make good with the white man's laws, because they're created against us. Even when you're a veteran, Mr. Needed, it might even cause dissonance between you and another family on the block, maybe another family on the street, or another family at HEB, or another family at the doctor, or another family here. And if we don't come mutually together, and if we don't do it under the bearings of white supremacy, that's the thing. If we can do it with each other, we'll be like the water, we'll be like the current. We'll just keep going. Parallel systems.
So, you know, so one of the things that I do know, I mean, I have 5 siblings, and we're all very different. You know, we're all, you know, all completely different.
Yeah. And you're from Alabama, Miss Anita. That's
well, you know, well, the key is from Mississippi, so you know, we both right?
Yeah. From the Confederate South for sure.
But you know, I guess the point is that, you know, I don't have that much. I mean, I have faith in my black people, but I don't put all my faith in people. And I know, you know, it's not just going to be, you know, black folks that's going to get us. You know, you have to work that we have. If you take this comment on Facebook, the question is, you know, starting with you know, what are some things that we can do? You know,
there was a lot of echo.
Yeah, I think it sounds like it's from your.
Yeah. I think I heard a little bit about what you said, and I think that can align with one of the comments. It says where to start as we usher in this new administration. What are some action points? You know, this might seem radical, Miss Anita, but if we could collectively eliminate rent and insurance and get in the government pay people to stay home, we could corral viruses. People could stay in their homes, stay safe. But would Joe Biden or Kamala Harris sit down for that? They were not in support for $1,200 checks. Miss Anita, you as the professional, a $600 check. A $600 check equates horribly to like.
Oh yeah, it doesn't make for rent.
But a $1,200 check does too. Well,
as far as I saw, both Harris and Biden were in favor. It's the that Democrats were in favor of. It was the Republicans that took it.
Democrats were in favor of what I would consider to be the bare minimums.
Well, but you have to remember, we're still at, you know, it's still a majority Republicans.
We're talking about real solutions for the Black community. I'm talking about like real housing, public health, equity task forces, equity offices, and that's in all systemic factors. And I know a lot of black folks want reparations. I think reparations already came and went to the white man for all of that. I don't think we're in line for reparations. I think that's all a hoax. But if reparations were to come because black folks got their hand on money, what will we do with the money, Miss Anita, if we're all consumers? If we don't create black business districts and make sure that our black businesses are respected on platforms like Black Austin.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they're respected and not treating like they're filth, like that sister did with Midtown a couple of weeks ago in such distaste. And I could say that
What happened?
because I'm not being vulgar. It really was just distasteful in the city of Austin. Some of us have paid property taxes, rent, all kinds of stuff in the city of Austin, in and around Midtown for a very long time. And I'm not saying her experience is to be shelved or anything like that, but it's how we handle each other if we're trying to make systemic responses. The black community being so portioned off because we believe in a constitution that is supposed to work for us in the First and the Second Amendment, but the Sixth, the Fifth, the Sixth, the Seventh, the Fourth, all against us. Like, why not establish our own? I keep getting to that, and if that's a little too radical, if we got to make the existing things work for us, we've got to be much better to each other. We've got to be much better to each other. I don't think we've got another 100, 200 years to have the gender wars. The black man and the black woman make one. They're not two separate individuals. So the man and the woman have these extreme different identities. We're supposed to be so similar. Shit, we're one.
So my issue with that, honestly, is that can you mute?
I can, not that much.
Okay.
I can hear you now. I can hear you real good.
The reason why I ended up being speaker is because of the degree of people. And so I am not to believe that any people will be able to get us out of it. It is a combination. And, again, serving in the military, the people who called my brothers and sisters did not look like people.
Yeah.
But and some of the people who didn't support, what people that didn't but they look like people. So I think we need to figure out how to work with the system that we have. I think the only way to me, that's the only way. I think there's no way, but that's the way that I feel like it's for us.
Yeah, I hear you.
But Dakila, what's going on?
I'm sorry?
Dakila, what's going on in the news?
Oh man, I had turned it off, so I ain't have no.
Dakila.
Yeah, it's like the connection is not.
Yeah,
it's hard to hear. And then I was trying to multitask. But I mean, I don't know what the answer was. To fix years and years. But I think it is not one size fit all type of solution.
Yeah. Yeah, it took us a couple hundred years to get in it. It's gonna take us a while to get out. So yeah, so this is definitely your video. Because every time I enter we hear that. What's going on in the news, Tequila?
I haven't really been tracking it.
Oh, okay. somebody says, let's see what this comment is. What about more education for small Black business owners as well? Black entrepreneurs seem to struggle with ways and means to market themselves, to be competitive, to be good stewards for their customers. I definitely would like to know who did that one. You know, I think there's lots of solutions. You know, to me, I believe that the way out of you know, for if we want equity, I think it starts with economic reform. You know, I don't think it starts with social justice. I don't think it starts with a whole lot of other things. I think it starts with economic reform, because until African Americans as a whole, have access to to the same pots of money that everybody else does. I mean, we're going to continue to struggle.
Yeah. And that reminds me of gosh, what's the bishop name that's over the I think the poor man campaign. It'll come to me. And I think he got some great ideas.
What was I've never heard of that.
Let me see if I can pull up their webpage.
Yeah, but one of my friends said, she noted on the thing that's going on. She was like, "Did anybody get pepper sprayed? Did anyone get beat down? Did anybody go to jail?" Somebody asking for a friend, because we haven't seen any of that, right? We haven't seen any of this. So, someone else said there needs to be support for small landlords as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on right now in our country. I mean, because of COVID, we're all kind of in a pickle. So, like you said, I don't know that there's one size that fits all, because there's so many problems that we got. There's just so many. We just have to, and everybody's not going to have the same goals, right? Everybody's not going to have the same,
Exactly.
And, I might want to do this, you might want to do this, and then somebody else wants to do that, and I think it's hard as a community, Black folks, because we're not on the same accord. We're not all, we don't all think the same. We all look the same. So the problem's not going to, the solution's not going to be the same for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But
we all have different problems. We all have different principles and foundations, and
so goes back to where we started. How are you feeling? Are you feeling better?
Oh, okay, he's Reverend Barber.
Oh, which one? Oh, the one that just won?
Yeah, he's Poor People's Campaign.
Oh, okay. Oh, he didn't pass away, did he?
Okay.
That's kind of heavy, right? The pastor. Oh yeah, somebody said Barber.
Yeah, that's him. He has a. I think his ideas is a start, because I mean it's mostly, I think, not only Black people but the poor people, they're gonna be disenfranchised and neglected or added to the minority.
Yeah, it's to me, it's about class, but even back in slavery days, that's when they made sure that poor people understood that Black people were less than them, and so even poor whites, believed that, Blacks, it didn't matter if you had a college degree, doctor, lawyer, it didn't matter. So, but a lot of this starts with it's about class. It's about class. A lot of the issues that we have, for sure.
Well, my friend, I have an appointment shortly. I need to prepare to go
Because I
to.
think we've talked enough. So so I appreciate you joining me, and we're gonna close it out.
It's been a pleasure, and I if he said.
You know what? You know everything that Shiva said. See, all right. On that note, good night.